I go on air. I'm waiting offline to go on a show. I think it was Katie Tur's show. We were going to talk about polls or politics or whatever. And as I am sitting 30 seconds before I go on, there's a breaking news report. There's been gunshots at the Charlie Cook's rally or whatever in Utah. And so that's all that's been reported. I go on air, and then of course they have us on because we're there, we're ready. And they ask me, and I say, before we jump to conclusions, this is before we'd known he'd been shot, and before, obviously, way before anybody knew he was killed. It was that gunshots were fired. And I said, naively, I guess, well, we just don't know. This could easily be somebody, because I said Charlie Cook's been a huge proponent of the Second Amendment. This could easily be somebody shooting guns in the air, celebrating the fact that Charlie Cook's here. Who knows? We don't know that. And then they asked me that, what does this say about our political environment? And I said, we're in a situation now, and we're in a political environment where hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which lead to hateful actions. That's what I said. And that was it. That was the entirety. And then they go off. I'm done, because then they're reporting, and then the reporting happens. And nobody says anything to me. Nobody at MSNBC for an hour or so says a word like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. Oh, that thing. Nobody says a word. And then all of a sudden, this infrastructure of the sort of right-wing infrastructure gins up and says, Matthew Dowd, it said that Charlie Cook deserved to be shot, right? Matthew Dowd says this, and Charlie Cook deserved to be shot, blah, 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 blah. And MSNBC's response to that, they call me, this was about an hour, and say, hey, there's been a complete, brush fire about your comments, on social media and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I don't know why. This is what I said. And the guys, and this person says, well, I don't know exactly, what you said. You wasn't paying attention. I'll go back and look. And then they go back and look, and they say, well, you may be right that it's been misinterpreted, but the president of the network, you need to do a formal apology, blah, blah, blah. You need a formal apology in this. So I do a tweet. I draft a tweet, and I'm saying, okay, and then they want to see it. They change it. MSNBC changes it from I have great love and prayers for Charlie Kirk and his family. And this is political violence. And I had often, rejected political violence and spoke out against it and all of that. But, this is their situation we're in. And I'm sorry if my words were misinterpreted or the timing was off in that. That's what I say. Then they send out she sends out a statement, the head of MSNBC, because they can't handle, I guess, the blowback and the fact that they have, wealthy owners now who are trying to, get done whatever they want to get done that is contingent upon the FCC or whatever it is. She puts out a statement, says, completely condemning my remarks without letting me go back on air, without anything from me. And then an hour after that, they call me up and said, you've been let go.
Wow.
And I said, well, you all know that but she doesn't call me. The president never calls me, never says anything, never this. One of her people calls me. And they say, you guys know completely, this has been totally misconstrued and misinterpreted. Yeah. We know that, but this decision's been made.
Yeah.
That's what happened.